What is a pilum? Ancient Rome and the Roman Empire. Introduction: the legacy of ancient Rome. Ancient Rome stands as one of the most influential civilizations in human history, shaping the modern world through its political systems, legal frameworks, architectural achievements, and military innovations. At the heart of Rome's dominance was its unparalleled military prowess, which allowed it to expand its territories across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. Central to the success of the Roman legions was their disciplined organization, strategic brilliance, and advanced weaponry. Among these weapons, none was more iconic or effective than the pilum, a spear-like javelin that became synonymous with Roman military might. The pilum was not merely a weapon, it was a symbol of Roman ingenuity and adaptability. Its design evolved over centuries, reflecting the changing needs of the Roman army as it transitioned from a republic to an empire. The pilum played a crucial role in battles, enabling Roman soldiers to disrupt enemy formations, break shields, and create chaos on the battlefield. But what exactly was the pilum, and why did it become such a defining feature of Roman warfare? This article delves deep into the origins, design, tactical use, and cultural significance of the pilum. We will explore how this seemingly simple weapon transformed the art of war, examine its role in some of Rome's most famous battles, and analyze its lasting legacy in military history. By understanding the pilum, we gain insight into the broader story of ancient Rome, a civilization defined by its ability to innovate, adapt, and conquer. Chapter 1. Origins of the pilum. Early developments in Roman weaponry. To understand the pilum, we must first trace its roots back to the early days of Roman military development. Before the rise of the Roman Republic, the Italian peninsula was home to numerous tribes and city-states, each with its own distinct methods of warfare. The Etruscans, Samnites, and other neighboring cultures heavily influenced early Roman military practices. These groups primarily relied on spears, swords, and shields, using them in close-quarters combat typical of ancient Mediterranean warfare. However, the Romans were not content to simply adopt foreign designs. They sought to refine and improve upon existing weapons, creating tools that better suited their unique style of warfare. One such innovation was the pilum, which emerged during the early Republican period, around the 4th century BCE. While its exact origin remains debated among historians, many believe that the pilum was inspired by similar weapons used by the Etruscans and other Italic peoples. Evolution of the pilum design. The earliest versions of the pilum were relatively simple, consisting of a long wooden shaft topped with an iron spearhead. Over time, however, Roman engineers introduced several key modifications that enhanced its effectiveness. By the late Republican era, the pilum had evolved into a highly specialized throwing weapon designed for maximum impact. One of the most significant innovations was the addition of a long, thin metal shank connecting the spearhead to the wooden shaft. This design made the pilum both lightweight and aerodynamic, allowing it to be thrown with great accuracy and force. Additionally, the tip of the pilum was often pyramidal or barbed, ensuring that it would penetrate deeply into enemy armor or shields. Another critical feature was the weakening of the connection between the metal shank and the wooden shaft. When the pilum struck a target, the force of impact would cause the shaft to bend or break, rendering the weapon useless for the enemy. This prevented foes from picking up discarded pila and hurling them back at the Romans, a common tactic in ancient warfare. Cultural significance. The pilum quickly became a symbol of Roman military superiority. Unlike the shorter javelins used by many contemporary armies, the pilum was specifically crafted for mass deployment within the tightly organized ranks of the Roman legion. Each legionary carried 2 pila, one heavy and one light, allowing them to unleash devastating volleys before closing in for hand-to-hand combat. As Rome expanded its borders, the pilum spread across Europe, influencing the design of later weapons and becoming a hallmark of Roman conquest. Its widespread adoption underscored the importance of technological innovation in achieving military dominance. In the following chapters, we will examine the mechanics of the pilum in greater detail, exploring how its design contributed to its effectiveness on the battlefield and why it remained a cornerstone of Roman warfare for centuries. Chapter 2, Anatomy of the Pilum, Components of the Pilum. At first glance, the pilum appears deceptively simple, a spear-like weapon with a long wooden shaft and an iron head. However, its true complexity lies in the careful balance of materials, proportions, and engineering principles that make it uniquely suited for its purpose. To fully appreciate the pilum, we must dissect its components and understand how they work together to create a devastatingly effective weapon. The spearhead. The spearhead of the pilum is arguably its most critical element. Typically measuring between 14 and 30 inches, 35 to 75 centimeters, in length, the spearhead consists of a sharp, pointed tip attached to a long, narrow metal shank. This shank serves multiple functions. It provides structural integrity, increases penetration power, and ensures that the pilum maintains its trajectory when thrown. The shape of the spearhead varied slightly, depending on the era and region of production. During the Republican period, spearheads were often pyramidal or leaf-shaped, designed to maximize damage against unarmored opponents. In later periods, particularly under the Roman Empire, spearheads became more streamlined and elongated, reflecting advancements in metallurgy and manufacturing techniques. The metal shank. Attached to the spearhead is the metal shank, which extends downward into the wooden shaft. This shank is typically around 18 to 24 inches, 45 to 60 centimeters long, and is forged from high-quality iron or steel. Its primary function is to transfer the kinetic energy of the throw directly to the spearhead, ensuring maximum penetration upon impact. One of the most ingenious aspects of the pilum is the deliberate weakening of the junction between the metal shank and the wooden shaft. A small rivet or pin secures the two pieces together, but it is intentionally fragile. When the pilum strikes a hard surface, such as a shield or armor, the force of impact causes the shaft to bend or snap. This design has two key advantages: preventing reuse. Once bent, the pilum becomes unusable for the enemy, eliminating the risk of counterattacks. Disabling shields. If the pilum embeds itself in a shield, the added weight and awkward angle can render the shield unwieldy, forcing the opponent to discard it. The wooden shaft. The lower portion of the pilum consists of a wooden shaft, usually made from ash or another durable hardwood. The shaft is approximately 4 to 6 feet, 1.2 to 1.8 meters long, providing ample leverage for throwing, while remaining manageable for storage and transport. Roman craftsmen carefully selected wood that was both strong and flexible, ensuring that the pilum could withstand the stresses of combat without breaking prematurely. The shaft was often tapered, growing thinner toward the bottom to reduce weight and improve aerodynamics. Weight distribution. One of the defining characteristics of the pilum is its balanced weight distribution. Most of the weapon's mass is concentrated in the upper half, near the spearhead and metal shank. This design allows the pilum to fly straight and true when thrown, maintaining momentum over long distances. Despite its relatively modest size compared to other polearms, the pilum could achieve impressive range and accuracy in the hands of skilled legionaries. Variants of the pilum. Over the centuries, Roman engineers developed several variations of the pilum to suit different tactical needs. Two main types emerged. Heavy pilum, also known as the pilum mural. This variant featured a thicker shaft and heavier spearhead. It was designed for maximum penetration, capable of piercing thick shields and even light armor. Legionaries typically carried one heavy pilum per soldier. Light pilum, sometimes referred to as the Pilum leve, this version was lighter and more maneuverable. While less powerful than its heavier counterpart, the light pilum excelled at disrupting enemy formations and softening targets before engaging in melee combat. By equipping each legionary with both types of pilum, the Roman army ensured versatility on the battlefield, adapting to various scenarios with precision and efficiency. Chapter 3. Tactical use of the pilum deployment in battle. The true genius of the pilum lay not only in its design, but also in how it was deployed on the battlefield. Roman commanders understood that the pilum was most effective when used en masse, creating a wall of deadly projectiles that could decimate enemy ranks before the opposing forces even reached the Roman lines. Formation and coordination. Roman legions were renowned for their discipline and cohesion, qualities that extended to their use of the pilum. Before engaging in close combat, legionaries would form up in tight ranks, presenting a unified front to their adversaries. Each man carried two pila, one heavy and one light, and waited for the command to throw. When the order was given, the entire line would launch their pila simultaneously, creating a dense volley of spears raining down on the enemy. This synchronized attack served several purposes. Breaking enemy formations. The sheer volume of pila striking shields, helmets and bodies disrupted enemy cohesion, leaving them vulnerable to follow-up attacks. Neutralizing shields. As discussed earlier, the pilum's tendency to bend or lodge itself in shields forced opponents to abandon their protective gear, exposing them to further danger. Psychological impact. The sight and sound of hundreds of pila hurtling through the air had a profound psychological effect, instilling fear and panic in the enemy ranks. Timing and range. The timing of the pilum volley was crucial. Roman officers carefully gauged the distance between their troops and the advancing enemy, waiting until the foe was within optimal range, typically 15 to 30 meters, 50 to 100 feet, before issuing the command to throw. At this range, the pilum achieved peak velocity and accuracy, maximizing its destructive potential. Once the pilum volley had been unleashed, the legionaries would draw their short swords, gladii, and prepare for close-quarters combat. By this point, the enemy was often disorganized and demoralized, making them easy prey for the disciplined Roman infantry. Strategic advantages. The pilum offered several strategic advantages that set the Roman army apart from its rivals. Versatility. Whether facing lightly armored skirmishers or heavily armored phalanxes, the pilum proved adaptable to a wide range of opponents. Shock value. The sudden barrage of pila created chaos and confusion, giving the Romans a decisive edge in the opening stages of battle. Resource denial. By disabling enemy shields and preventing the reuse of captured pila, the Romans effectively denied their opponents access to valuable resources. These factors combined to make the pilum an indispensable tool in the Roman arsenal, contributing significantly to their reputation as masters of warfare. Chapter 4. Famous battles featuring the pilum. The Battle of Cannae, 216 BCE. One of the most infamous battles in Roman history, the Battle of Cannae, highlights both the strengths and limitations of the pilum. Fought against the Carthaginian general Hannibal during the Second Punic War, this engagement saw the Romans deploy their traditional tactics, including the use of pila against a cunning and adaptive adversary. Despite their numerical advantage, the Romans suffered a catastrophic defeat due to Hannibal's superior strategy. However, the initial volleys of pila inflicted significant casualties on the Carthaginian forces, demonstrating the weapon's lethality even in the face of overwhelming odds. The Siege of Alesia, 52 BCE. Julius Caesar's victory at Alesia in 52 BCE marked a turning point in the Gallic Wars and showcased the pilum's role in siege warfare. Surrounded by Vercingetorix's Gallic forces, Caesar's legions utilized Pila to repel repeated assaults on their fortified positions. The combination of ranged firepower and disciplined defense ultimately secured Roman supremacy in Gaul. Other notable engagements. From the conquests of Julius Caesar to the campaigns of Trajan, the Pilum played a vital role in countless battles throughout Roman history. Its consistent presence underscores its enduring value as a weapon of choice for the Roman legions. Conclusion: the enduring legacy of the Pilum. The Pilum represents far more than just a piece of military hardware. It embodies the spirit of innovation, discipline, and adaptability that defined ancient Rome. From its humble beginnings as a simple javelin to its evolution into a sophisticated battlefield tool, the Pilum exemplifies the ingenuity of Roman engineers and the tactical brilliance of their commanders. Even today, the Pilum continues to inspire admiration and study, serving as a reminder of the enduring legacy of one of history's greatest empires. Through its design, deployment, and impact on warfare, the Pilum remains a testament to the power of human creativity and determination.